Wake Up, Dead Man.
It's not just another average murder mystery.
Today we'll be discussing our thoughts on it and diving into some spoilers later on.
I'm Eleanor.
I'm Alisa.
And I'm Charlotte.
And this is Real Talk.
To start off with a basic summary, Wake Up Dead Man is a movie about Detective Benoit Blanc from previous movies teaming up with an earnest young priest to investigate a perfectly impossible crime at a small town church with a dark history.
Start off, what's one phrase or word that you can use to describe this movie and why?
I would definitely use the word themed. As somebody who's watched the other previous movies, this movie definitely dives into the themes about religion and the two different sides of it a lot more than the other previous two. The others kind of touched on elitism and billionaire worship, but this one very much dived into the themes a lot more. It was quite more introspective.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd say that's a good one. And then I'd also say, like, very interesting because there was a lot of, like, plot twists and, like, I kept on, like, being like, oh, what's going to happen next? And some things I could predict, but at the same time, there were some things that caught me off guard.
My word for this would probably be complex. The mystery was actually so confusing to me for a minute that I had to search it up on, like, an explanation on Google. I think that's partly because the two actors look very similar and like they're kind of hard to distinguish when it's 9 p.m. and you're tired, which is exactly how I was when I watched this movie. Even then, like, the murder weapon itself confused me as well. I really enjoyed the movie though, and the mystery parts of it because I didn't know what was coming next.
Yeah, it was probably because I've seen quite a bit of murder mysteries that I was able to follow it a little bit more. If this is your first time, it's definitely a complex.
Yeah, it's one of my first times.
So what are you guys' opinions on, like, the actors and the acting performances? That's a pretty big staple of the Knives Out series.
I think a lot of actors did a great job. Some were, like, more than others in this movie, definitely. I think there were some moments when a scene just needed to be done in a certain way and the performance kind of fell flat.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I absolutely loved Josh O'Connor, the person who plays Father Jude.
Yeah.
Loved his performance. It was struck the perfect balance for me. I also really loved Monsieur and Wicks, Martha, and Benoit Blanc as always. But to me, almost every side character kind of fell flat. Like, I could not tell you one of their names without looking it up on IMDb.
Yeah, I've already forgotten, like, most of the side characters' names.
I forgot the one who was the killer.
It just felt like they weren't that good at, like, giving a good performance. And it just didn't feel, like, put together when, like, they were incorporated into, like, the scenes.
To me, it felt a little bit plasticky. With the other two movies, the side characters, they're so unique. Like, in Glass Onion, I don't even love that movie, but the side characters are so pure unique. I could tell you all their names right now. But here, I really just did not connect. I feel like they kind of fell into stereotypes a little bit. And I feel like the performances were a little bit false. Like, it was very obvious that they were actors.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. One thing I would, like, definitely say about, like, the acting performances was the priest's, like, inner circle. I feel like they could have just done, like, 3 people only and it would have, like, still felt the same way.
Yeah,
Because I feel like some, like, of the characters in that, like, were not that necessary. They didn't really do anything.
Yeah, they were kind of just, like, there.
I think they're kind of there to, like, draw off the plot from the main characters, like, to confuse it more. But honestly, it just didn't work. I feel like a couple more scenes needed to flesh out them, and they could have used.
Because I felt like throughout the movie, I didn't learn, like, anything about them, just, like, the fact that they were there.
Definitely, I agree with that.
So what are some, like, themes that you guys, like, enjoyed or, like, stood out to you?
I think we can all agree that the main theme centered around what people believe when their beliefs are tested by truths and guilt.
Yeah, for sure. I was definitely surprised by how much I enjoyed the themes. They definitely are pretty personal. They're all about religion and how religion can be used for compassion and also for wrongdoing. That's a good word for that. I think that it strikes a very good balance between, like, being overly preachy and between being perfectly nuanced. Like, it's very, everybody can watch it and get the full understanding.
Yeah, like, going into, like, this is my first murder mystery, and I actually really enjoyed it, and I was not expecting to, like, enjoy this theme as much as I did, and I liked how it, like, all tied together, and I actually kind of understood it. I kind of related to it, which you don't really get from a lot of movies.
I very much enjoyed how the The detective character and Father Jude both kind of explore different types. Like one is a priest and one is a complete unbeliever, but in no part of the movie did one of them try to convert the other or yell at the other. It was very mature.
I would say like another theme like I saw here, like agreeing with Eleanor, is like how some people who claim to follow religion don't really uphold like core values of it, and like they use religion as like a mask for like the wrong things that they do and to justify it.
Absolutely. That was perfectly portrayed inside the film. Just a heads up, there will be spoilers in this section, so if you wish to avoid them, please skip to the timestamp 7:25. Thank you. Okay, so now diving into some spoilers. What are some parts of the plot that really surprised you guys?
When the guy posing as Jeff walks out of his grave, I was like so surprised. That was definitely one of the last things I expected to happen. As well as like the actual people behind the murder, I definitely like expected one of them to be from like Wix's like little fan club of people. But I didn't think Martha would have anything to do with it.
I was like, is this really the movie or is this like fake? Because I was just so shocked.
Yeah, I absolutely love those plot twists. I didn't see any of that coming. Another one was definitely where the gem was hidden.
Oh, yeah.
At the end, when I saw it in the cross, I literally laughed out loud. That was perfect wrapping up.
I would say the biggest mystery, though, was how Martha and Nat managed to get all of that acid. I don't think you can just walk into Home Depot and buy all that stuff.
Yeah, that was still a really cool death scene, though. Okay, so what are your guys' kind of like final thoughts about the movie if you had to wrap it up?
I'm going to be like really honest, but I wasn't expecting to enjoy this movie as much as I did. This genre wouldn't be like my first choice of movie. Like I wouldn't open Netflix and be like, oh yeah, I want to watch this. But after watching this, I might watch the rest of them because I just enjoyed it so much. And yeah, you can just tell like the effort they put in, all like everything that went into it, and all like by the actors, the producers.
So the IMDb rating is a 7.4 out of 10, and like going along with that, I think I would give it an 8 out of 10. It was really good and I enjoyed it. It does get like a little slow feeling in some parts though, which is why I like took some points off, and also like some of the, like I said before, like the actors' performances, I just like didn't like some of them. But overall, this is like a really good movie and I would definitely consider seeing the other two now.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree with you. I'd probably rate it at about an 8.5 out of 10, just like for how well the themes are conveyed and how beautiful the scenery is. All of the scenes, they kind of match up with the themes. It's a gorgeous Gothic setting in upstate New York, and I just love some of the performances. But yeah, I'd have to take off the thing that's really stopping it from being like a 9.5 out of 10 is just the side characters' performances. They really needed to umph it up a little bit. But yeah, this is probably my second favorite of the Knives Out trilogy. The first Knives Out is pretty sentimental to me, but this was very good. It was definitely a lot more introspective than the other two, but I love those types of movies, so it worked perfectly for me.
So let's talk about whether we would recommend seeing it or not for other people and for what age groups.
So the Common Sense Media rating for this movie is 13 plus. I think it's really going to depend on the person and like your exposure to murder mystery. This probably isn't the best movie to be like your only introduction to it. You probably want like a more classic one first, but I may go a little bit higher with the age and just say high school. Just like a quick warning, there is definitely a death scene or two. Spoiler alert, somebody dies. There's some pretty heavy themes, murder, crude language or jokes, and a lot of controversial topics, but there's not like any extreme gore or anything disturbing, just a couple skeletons.
Yeah, I would agree with what you say. The age rating fits pretty well, but I might just say like for high schoolers to like bump it up a little bit because yeah, it does like have some themes in there, and
yeah, it definitely depends on like how mature you are and your exposure to like these sort of topics and scenes. So maybe like 14 plus or high school. Well, that's all for today's movie.
You're watching Real Talk.